Hi everyone, this is Don Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Beyond the Lens. And hey, today I would like to talk about drone photography. I'm rather new to this. I've had a drone for a little over a year now. It sits on the shelf, it comes out. My issue, and the issue I want to talk about today, is where I can fly my drone and who's in charge. And I've gone on a fact-finding mission this week, and I think what I have to relay to you may be of quite a bit of interest to most of you. Before we get started, I would like to say that I teach photography workshops, and we go all over the world teaching, and some great places here in the United States. And I would love it if you were interested to check out my website, donsmithphotography.com, and you can just simply click on the homepage. I have a lot of links, and you can click on the workshops, you can click on galleries, my books, my discount codes, a lot of things right off that homepage. You can also at any time send an email to me, and either I will answer you or my wife Barry will answer you, and that's don@donsmithphotography.com. Okay, let's get started with this issue of drones. Let me paint a little bit of a background here. I live in a town called Morro Bay in the county of San Luis Obispo, California. And we are right on the coastline, bordered both north and south with state parks. So I know that back in 2018, Congress voted to put the airspace control solely into the hands of the Federal Aviation Administration. Prior to that, nowhere in San Luis Obispo County could you legally fly a drone. They were banned countywide, didn't matter where you were standing. So this was pretty exciting when the airspace opened up. And I've only moved here 2 years ago. And but I'm still, was kind of confused about, could I fly in state parks and take off and land and control my drone in state parks? What were the laws? I know with the national parks, you can't do it. So you can't be standing and flying a drone in a park. You can do it outside. Technically, you could, if you were standing across the border, wherever the heck the border is listed, and you could theoretically take off, fly, and land inside a national park. So I decided to go online and do a lot of digging. And I went to all the websites of all the various state parks in my region. No mention of drone restrictions, none. There were restrictions on dogs, overnight camping, building illegal campfires, et cetera, et cetera. So I decided to look up where my district office was. And it turns out it's just a quick 30-minute drive up the road in a place called San Simeon, California, which is right at the base of Hearst Castle. In fact, Hearst Castle is a state park. And so I plugged it into my GPS and off I went last week on a fact-finding mission. And when I got up there, I was directed to a couple of women rangers who were actually in the ticket booth selling tickets to the castle. And when they asked what I wanted, I asked them where was the district office located. And one woman said, "State your business, sir." And I said, "Well, I'm trying to get some information about my photography, what's legal, what is not, and can I fly drones?" And immediately her and another woman behind her, another female ranger, said, no drones allowed anywhere along the coastline. And I said, okay, is there somebody I can speak to as to why in the district office, because I can't find any order stating that on any of your websites, not even the district office website. So they told me to meet, one woman ranger told me to meet her around back, and she would lead me to the district office. When I got back around, she was there with two other women who were not in ranger uniforms, just standard dress. And all three of them immediately started telling me no drone flying. So I tried to explain, look, I'm not doing this commercially. In fact, I don't have my Section 107 test. I'm not selling or utilizing any drone footage or pictures to put for sale anywhere. I'm just doing it because I love photography, and it's a way to stay creative with my photography and get different perspectives. And there's some of the beaches that are very remote where there's these beautiful sea stacks and I would love to just fly over the sea stacks. That's all. That's all I wanted to do. And one area where there was an arch, I wanted to fly it up to the arch to see if I could center the sunset through it. And again, was told no, 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 no. So I said, is there anybody else here I can speak to? Do you have somebody who's specifically knowledgeable or their division is on photography? And they said, yes, we do. She's not in today. And so I went back in and they gave me her email and her phone number, much to their credit. But they also had printed out rules and regulations on photography for Hearst Castle. And I said, once again, I'm not interested in flying at Hearst Castle or over the castle, any of that. I'm more interested along the coast. And again, they reiterated, nowhere along the coast are you allowed to fly. So the next morning, I got up and I sent this woman an email. First, I tried calling, and she said she didn't work in the office because of whatever reason, budget cuts. She worked out of her house, and it would be better to email her. So I sent an email stating what I knew about drone flying and what the FAA has told me, and that I consult the Before You Fly app every time before I go out. And all of this area is shown as on the FAA's software as a green go zone. There's a few places that are off limits, and I don't go there. And I'm nowhere near an airport. The nearest airport's probably 10, 12, 15 miles from me over in San Luis Obispo. So I'm in no way near an airport. So I left this as an email, firmly expecting to take a couple of days to hear back from her. And then I went and did some Googling and found a phone number for the drone division of the FAA. So I called them, and it went to voicemail, and they said, leave what you want to know, and somebody will call you back from our office. So I explained the whole situation to them. To their credit, within about a half hour, a gentleman from the FAA called me back. We had a terrible echo on the phone, but nonetheless, I tried to hang with it. And I told him, and he just said, no, your state parks have no control over the airspace. We control that. Now, he said there may be a slight issue as if you can land there, but usually state parks are just, are supposed to abide by that. But we control the airspace. As far as hitting birds, that would be up to us to determine, not them, et cetera, et cetera. And he asked, are you flying over people? I said, no, these are remote parks where they're not beaches where people are going to go out. And if there was a human being, I would not, I'm very aware. I don't fly over people. So he said, well, then you're legit, and hung up. So there were other questions I wanted to ask him, but he got off the phone rather quickly. So I went back on their website, and I actually filled out an email form, explained everything again, and sent that off, and left one more voicemail or voice message to see if this guy could call me back. So when I got through with that, I came back to my computer, and lo and behold, the woman with the state parks photography division wrote me. And she said, here is the superintendent's order. And I have that right here. And this is dated, I'm going to read you some of this. Dan Fallat, F-A-L-A-T, District Superintendent, San Luis Obispo Coast District, January 21st, 2021. So after Congress had passed, the ordinance to allow the FAA to control the airspace. So here's the order that I could not find, the superintendent's order that I could not find anywhere on site of any of these websites I went to. And I went to all of them that I could get onto. Some of them were such small parks they don't have websites. And I just want to read you the first two paragraphs because this pretty much sums it up. Whereas the dramatic growth and popularity of unmanned aerial systems, UAS, within San Luis Obispo District has numerous negative impacts, including protection of threatened species, threats to cultural and natural resources. I'm not sure what threats those would be. High fire danger. Out on the coast flying, where am I going to start a fire? And how do drones start fires? Public safety. I don't fly around people. Recreational conflicts. I don't fly around people. Impacts upon visitors' experience privacy. I don't fly around people. and park unit classification. Therefore, and here sums it up, no person shall launch, land, or operate a powered unmanned aircraft or an unmanned glider aircraft within the park of San Luis Obispo Coast District. State park regulations prohibit the use of motorized equipment, including UASs, within wilderness areas, cultural preserves, and natural preserves. California Code regs.tit.14, comma, some symbol I don't understand, 4351. Okay, that I understand is a superintendent's order. My question, why is this not posted anywhere? Before I left up there, the district office at San Simeon, I even asked, I've been to all these state parks and I see no signs posted. One of your law enforcement rangers at one of the parks I met a couple weeks ago, and I asked him, why were there no signs posted saying no drones? And he told me, look at the posts that you see and all those signs on there. Where in the heck am I going to hang a no drone sign? And I said, well, you ought to just put a post up at the main entrance where it's very clear that all the cars have to come through, that this is a no drone area. And he said, I have no room. I have no room. Okay. So I asked these women, expecting they were going to tell me the same thing. But no, they changed their story. They say, we don't post signs because people will steal signs. And I said, I said, well, it's funny because I go to your state parks all the time, and there's plenty of signs about no dogs, no campfires, no overnight camping, etc. And one came back and said, oh, I think we do have one posted in a campground area of one of the places. And I said, well, wouldn't that, a person reading that, assume I can't fly drones in the campground? I guess they thought I was being, I don't know, I wasn't being snippy. I was trying to be as polite as could be. And I told them, I said, look, I'm here to get educated. I don't want to, I follow the rules. If I wasn't a rule follower, I wouldn't have even bothered to come here. I'd have just put my drone up in the sky and did what I did until I got caught. But I don't want to get a ticket. I don't want to get in trouble. So I left there, and with everything that happened the next day, I'm left to surmise, oh, by the way, the next day I got a second call from another gentleman with the FAA, and he told me the same thing. Yes, they do not control the airspace, so what they're telling you there is made up. They're on some agenda. However, he said, and this is where it gets a little bit of a technicality, they own the land, and they could tell you not to take off, operate, or land. Similar to what's in this order, right, that I just read you. And so he said, but if you know where the boundaries areas are, you could legally take off, control, and land outside the park and fly into the park, and they couldn't do anything. He said, but are you really being a good neighbor? So one other thing came in, and this was a email response from the FAA that I had written. I'm very thorough when I try to get information. And it says, the FAA exclusively regulates airspace for purpose of aircraft safety and airspace efficiency. A remote pilot has the right to use the National Airspace System, provided the pilot adheres to all applicable federal rules and regulations. Laws traditionally regulated to state and local police power, including land use, zoning, privacy, trespass, and law enforcement operations, generally, now that's a fuzzy word, right? Generally are not subject to federal regulation. State and local governments generally, here we go again, two uses of the word generally, have the authority, to designate and regulate aircraft landing areas. Nothing about taking off or controlling that, and that involves land use and zoning. Okay, my summation of this, you guys, and then I'd love to hear your summation in the comments. It appears to me, I want to give kudos to the Federal Aviation people, their drone division. Bravo. You guys, two people called me back in response, called me back in a timely manner. I got a response to an email in about an hour and a half from when I wrote it, and I come back with the sense that they do indeed own the airspace. and they are very, very much pro-drone. My takeaway from the California State's park system, they hate us. They hate drone operators, flat. I don't know. They have these hidden orders, supposedly. Where do you find them? They don't post signs because they have no room to post signs, and or somebody steals the sign. It just sounds really sketchy to me. So if I didn't know this, or say somebody, we're in a high tourist area where I live. Say somebody came over from the Central Valley, Fresno, Bakersfield, whatever, for a weekend. You can't call anybody up at state parks and ask, is it legal to fly a drone? They go out, they read, they hop on the websites, if they even do that. Nothing's posted about no drones, and no superintendent's order anywhere about no drones. No signs posted anywhere. So what are they left to surmise? I think any common sense thinking person would be, hey, I can fly a drone here. And oh, by the way, I have seen tons of footage and pictures of parks here. Apparently, they just never got caught. So what if they did get caught? I asked that question. What would happen if I got caught flying a drone? Well, we would give you a ticket, sir, or worse. I didn't want to know what the or worse was. Does that mean they're going to confiscate my drone? Does that mean they're going to slap cuffs on me and arrest me? With nothing posted, no signs, no orders, nothing on the websites. Isn't that, the word that comes to my mind is entrapment, right? Isn't that entrapment? When you can come and legally, as a ranger law enforcement person, write a ticket to somebody and say, well, you should have done a better job at digging out the information. This took me 2 days to figure this stuff out, and a trip up and back to my district office. And so I'm left perplexed. I've got a beautiful DJI Mavic 3 drone that I would love to fly. FAA is telling me go for it. The California State Parks is threatening me to not do it. Who supersedes who here? The federal government or the state park? Why don't these two entities get together and figure it out? Why doesn't the State Park of California make this more, go out of their way, bend over backwards to let people know these rules? You would stop a lot of problems. Communication to me is everything. I've been in the communications business my whole life. That's what my degree is in. It's in photojournalism communications. Boy, you talk about no communications in this case. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I think I've ranted and raved enough. I wanted to make this video and get it out while it was all still fresh and, quite honestly, kind of raw inside of me. I want to know from you people what your experiences are, where you live. I travel and do workshops all over the world. I can tell you, I could pretty much put a drone up in any country I've been to with very few limitations. And a lot of countries, I don't even need to ask. I can just put a drone up. So I would love to hear your comments. Hey, if somebody from California State Parks is watching this and you know something that I haven't explained, or you can explain why this order is not up on your websites, or why there's really no signs out there, please answer. I'm not trying to be a smartass with this video. I'm really trying to understand and to educate people that are watching this video. So that's about it. I would love to see your answers to all of this. I'm going to be in Grand Teton National Park, fully permitted, with a workshop group when this video posts. So I will get back to you, but I just don't know how quick I can get back on my answers because my first priority is teaching the workshop. Anyway, it's a hot topic, at least for me. I'm not sure where I stand on any of this. So maybe I'm counting on one of you to help educate me even further. Hey, that's it. Until next time, this is Don Smith. You guys have a good day. Stay creative. Stay safe out there. Thank you.